Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 9 German cruiser, Roon. It has 9 main guns, 18 secondary guns, 45 AA guns, 12 torpedoes, a top speed of 32.5 knots, total health 43,400. For my modules, reduce crit chance on main battery, increase main battery accuracy, reduce the chance of flood and fire, faster rudder shift, and concealment. For my commander, situation awareness, faster turret traverse, superintendent, advanced firing training, and concealment again. We are on the map Tears of the Desert, and this Roon is completely stock. And yes, I'm trying to say it the German way. I don't roll my R's. I'm sorry, I'm trying. But anyway, we spawned in the northeast side of the map. I've got a friendly cruiser that I just randomly am going to run with pretty much the whole way. So what is the Roon? Well, funny you should ask that. It is a AP monster. We don't have any upgrades. The upgrades have faster turret traverse, faster rate of fire, better range, better rudder shift. The ship is in its weakest state right now, but that doesn't mean we can't make it work to some degree. First few enemies we see, enemy Iowa, enemy Aweigh, not something I would like to see in a cruiser. I would prefer an enemy destroyer or an enemy cruiser showing a full broadside. Enemy Zhao, tier 10 Japanese cruiser. We're going to engage him with AP, and he hasn't really moved. Oh yes, 9,600 points of damage. We got a citadel, and now he reacts, of course. 1/4 of his health gone. He's angled much better. Not going to be as effective, and that really is the issue with AP. You got to find targets that are willing to show their side. And I'm going to keep trying to see if the enemy Zhao will make a mistake, but he's not looking like he is. Oh, he's actually turning a little bit. He softened it just a hair. But we miss. Doesn't even matter. I should honestly go after the Iowa. He's showing more of his side. And this is what you get into when you're in a ship that primarily uses AP. You got to look for the target that will reward you with the most points most of the time. You can't just continue firing on the lowest health ship and hope. And shockingly, the Otago died. The enemy Zhao fired on our position. He is invisifiring. I cannot see him. And I know this is a bad position. I'm going to leave the area. Definitely. We lose a lot of health in that small amount of time. I'm going to use my heal. Hopefully, we can find some traction. My detection is around 11.5. There's an enemy destroyer in the center of the map. We should definitely look to take it out as a team. That destroyer can provide a lot of issues if he's allowed to get into the back line of our team. This Aweigh appears to not care that he could take fire from me or destroyers. He's showing a lot of his side. We miss aim a little bit too far forward, but I get to adjust. The nice thing about the Roon is that the majority of your guns are on the backside, so moving away is actually just fine. And the Aweigh wants some of us. He's either firing on me or the friendly Bogami, definitely me. We're able to avoid all of the rounds. Ooh, nice. We got 4K with our AP. And he's kind of moving a little bit closer. We're actually moving faster than he is. So we're leaving quickly the range of our guns. We get another 4K. Nice. And about at this point, I was like, oh, whoa, 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 Notser. We're getting out of range. We're not going to be able to finish this guy, and he's going to fire on our position. We need to turn, which we are. Oh, we got a citadel. Nice. We do another shot. Is he going to miss? Nope, no, 4K. He got a 4K shot. Every other round dispersed into the water, thankfully. Looks like we hit the superstructure. That's the real issue, is at these extreme ranges, you really got to gauge the target. The Aweigh is a very fast battleship. He is going at 3/4 speed, maybe half speed. He shouldn't be going any speed. You don't want to move forward when it's so early in the match. The Aweigh is technically a battle cruiser, so I would assume a little bit less armor, just a little bit. Look at the Kagero. He let out torpedoes. The Zhao has to move. Is he going to be able to avoid it? Oh no, we lose the destroyer. 1, 2, 3. Wow. Barely got the front of that ship. He takes out the tier 10 Japanese cruiser. That was a huge deal. We really needed that as a team. We've kept it neck and neck. We're only one ship up. But they would have been able to bring it back. They would have had a tier 10 for a tier 9. And you would argue that the Zhao is just a more impactful ship. It's a higher power level. It's over 9,000 in some cases. This enemy Fubuki is going towards our base and our aircraft carrier. I'm sure he can see him 100%. So I'm saying, kill the destroyer. Everyone who can, fire on him. We have a friendly destroyer, friendly battleship, just fire. Now, I don't know if the torpedoes are going to be successful. Oh, Fubuki takes a shot, and he dies. Good. Okay. So far, our team has done a great job of exploiting opportunities and protecting one another. You can't say that about every teammate. We all have that teammate where they're just, how did they exist on Earth long enough to play this match? It's just like, what are you doing? Now, this North Carolina appears to be moving forward, and since I'm right next to him, I'm going to try and protect him. I use my defensive fire. I also get comments, why do you have defensive fire on your... Oh, he's able to only take one torpedo, but I get a lot of comments, why do you take defensive fire on your German cruisers? Isn't hydroacoustic better? Yes, it is. German cruisers have a unique trait where their hydroacoustic has 1 extra kilometer of effective range. So it goes from, I believe, 4 to 5.5-ish. That's a significant extension of the ability. But for me, I would only use it when I'm hunting destroyers, right? Well, it's kind of counterintuitive to the makeup of a German cruiser. They have long-range, high-velocity guns. They would basically stay right next to a battleship. I just don't find myself having a lot of scenarios, especially now that we have a resurgence of aircraft carriers, where I would justify hydroacoustic versus defensive fire. Right there, I already paid for it by helping the friendly battleship avoid most of those torpedoes because of their inaccuracy. So for me, I really do value these team-oriented skills that empower my team or allow me to assist them in some manner. Whereas with hydroacoustic, I would really feel like I would be overextending to find myself right next to an enemy destroyer in smoke. It's just very dangerous to me, maybe even around an island. It's also useful there. It basically allows you to extend the default detection range from 2.5 kilometers to 5.5 for the duration of the skill. That's extremely powerful. But I don't really find myself in positions where that's useful. The AA is always useful as long as there are aircraft carriers, and they are a definite resurgence, so that's my thought process on it. It might change. I noticed that they're attempting some sort of super cheesy skill with the Soviet cruisers, and I believe American cruisers will have it where basically for 20 seconds you can guarantee detection of ships. It sounds completely broken, and look at this. Look how slick this is. We're able to completely dodge the torpedoes incoming. Now, as the enemy torpedo bomber was coming my way, I felt like he wanted to go towards me, so I already started to turn towards the torpedo bombs. Using your bow and your stern as a target for these dive bombers and torpedo bombers really does assist you in minimizing the damage you take. Now, most of the enemy is on the southwest side of the map. We're just trying to get in position where we can possibly engage the Baltimore. He's showing a ton of his side. I did a token long-range shot, and I do minimal damage. And he disappears. So I'm still going to continue towards the targets, but as I do, the ability, I believe it might be sonar location, something like that. Early stats suggest that the Americans will get 9.9, whereas the Soviets are getting like 11, something ridiculous. And they probably feel like because a Soviet cruiser has Just awful detection. Worst in the game I've ever seen. We're talking about cruisers who have detection equivalent to battleships. So, as we were traveling, just a little story, Baltimore is angled pretty well. I assume that he knows I want to use AP against him. As you play this game, you realize, oh, German cruisers fire AP. HE generally fired from the Japanese, and Americans are somewhere in between. So he's got good angling against my AP. It's not going to be as effective as I would like. Plus, he's maneuvering pretty good. We do, however, have a friendly Mogami who can just ruin his day if he's rocking HE with this harsh angle that he's running. And we're taking fire from all sides. I don't know who that was. We incapacitated one of our guns, unfortunately. So we only have one back gun. Friendly Mogami showing a ton of his side to the Baltimore. We need to be greedy at this point. We're not the primary target. And I'm trying to help protect, but I believe, yeah, I did it too late. He was able to accurately drop. In the Baltimore, he lost one of his front guns. He only has one in the front, one in the back, and he shows a ton of his side. We're able to punish for 7,600 points of damage. I would have liked a Citadel. He really deserved that. We still have the benefit of defensive fire as the Mogami's trying to run away. So, yes, it should be inaccurate. Stay inaccurate. We're shooting down a couple aircraft. Looks like the Baltimore is headed for this gap. So I'm psyched. I was excited to be able to use the torpedo systems that rarely get to be used. Plus, he's showing a ton of his side. So, we're going to try and fire, but he realizes it. We only get 4K. If he was just slightly more open, we would have just annihilated him. He was so close to taking a lot of damage, but he was able to close that gap. We, however, underestimate his decision-making, and he decides to fire on my ship. And I think he's actually going to avoid my torpedoes. No! We fire at the waterline. We get 3K. Secondary set him on fire. Who needs manual secondaries when you got secondaries setting stuff on fire all the time? And I really should have held on my torpedoes. I didn't think he'd get this close. And it's just a race at this point. Can I kill him before he kills me? I'm trying to get it as low as possible. I don't know how much damage I did, but the friendly was able to kill him and assist me in protecting my ship. So I'm thankful for that. The North Carolina, don't know what he's doing. Maybe he had range, maybe he didn't. He should be able to fire on that Lexington, though. If you're given the opportunity to fire on a enemy aircraft carrier, yes, let's get this guy dead. Enemy aircraft are incoming. I'm trying to, run as fast as I can to intercept them, protect the North Carolina, keep them in the fight as long as possible. We see all but one enemy ship, and that is the enemy destroyer. Where could he be? I don't think he's on this side of the map. I want to believe that the friendly aircraft carrier would have scouted him out with just how many aircraft he's sending towards the enemy aircraft carrier. And we lose a friendly. I took a quick look. Enemy Colorado, not having a good day. I would love to get in range of the Lexington before I did anything else. Looks like the North Carolina was able to avoid most of the damage. We get a kill, they get a kill. It must be a bloodbath over there. And there's only a friendly destroyer. 2 battleships really far away. What do you bet that's the tier 10 Japanese battleship Yamato? I don't like being that far away from my enemy. I want them to feel the fear when they see my guns train right onto them. And that one-shot potential is really exciting. We are finally in range of the Lexington, and we're going to open up. With AP at the waterline, we're looking for the Citadel. Now, the higher you go, the bigger issue you have with a shell deflecting off of the top of an aircraft carrier if it's not at near max range for your ship. Near max range is, of course, plunging fire. Super close range is straight shot, and you have a varying degree in between. And you can just see it's kind of ricocheting off the top because it's not plunging enough to do good damage, but it's not straight enough to just go right into the waterline. Is Colorado super low? I take a quick shot. Take him out of the fight, right? There's battleships firing on him. I'm actually probably the closest target with the highest rate of fire that could finish him off, and he doesn't die. Really? So I'm like, someone else deserves it. We'll try and continue to kill the Lexington. Now we are in the waterline straight shot stuff. 5K, yeah. Can we get another one? Can we kill him outright? We should be able to. And I'm just ready to go. Everything at the waterline, of course, and we do the remaining 13,000 points of damage to the enemy aircraft carrier. He sends automatic dive bombers, so we just want to make sure that we don't take any extra damage unnecessary. Nobody has tried to finish off the color. Maybe he's out of range. I'm just going to fire on his position. Only need a token damaging shot. We take him out. Good. Enemy Baltimore's right in front of us at super low health, and it looks like the friendly destroyer is not landing his shots. So we're going to assist him. We're making sure that this enemy Baltimore doesn't somehow destroy every single ship on our team. We didn't deserve that kill at all. I tried to allow them to kill the Colorado. Nobody wanted to, apparently. Plenty of time. Every second that a ship is allowed to exist when it shouldn't is a second that you're risking the life of a friendly in a much closer game. So it's really challenging to decide how much leeway you're going to give a friendly in order to finish off a target. I really do struggle with the idea, how much do I allow them to try and kill a target, of course? And how much is it, you know what, we need to get it done, we need to move on, there are more important targets to worry about. The friendly aircraft carrier has found the enemy destroyer, who was in the southwest side of the map. I had asked, anyone seen the destroyer in the Iowa? Oh, I've seen it. He's been torpedoing me the entire game. I felt so bad for him, like, oh man, you've been having to deal with that. And the Shimakaze, he's not really in a good position to be useful to his team. And it shows, obviously. I mean, our team dominated this game. It would have been much more useful for him to be in a position where he could actively torpedo enemy battleships more effectively. But if he's only done 50,000 points of damage to the Iowa, that's just not enough for a tier 10 destroyer. So the game's, of course, over. We were able to get 3 kills in the last 2 minutes that probably didn't deserve. Although, to be fair, I did do significant damage to that Aweigh. Someone was able to finish him off. I'm happy about that. I don't care about that. We were able to get 3 kills, 5 citadels, 2,098 base XP, and around 90,000 points of damage. A solid game. Now, the Roon is, of course, a very exciting ship for me. I'm going to be playing it much more in the future. But for now, we are going to the next game in the Udaloi, which is a tier 9 Soviet destroyer. It has 6 main guns, 15 torpedoes, 28 AA guns, a surface detection of 7.2 kilometers, top speed 40 knots, total hull 18,800. For my modules, reduce crit chance on main battery, increase main battery accuracy, reduce the chance of flood and fire, faster rudder shift, and concealment. For my commander, situation awareness, basic firing training, last stand, superintendent, advanced firing training, and concealment again. We are on the map Trap, and just look at this deployment. I'm just shaking my head right now, man. Oh, you guys are just blowing my mind. Why are there so many people going for A? I guarantee you, these guys are just gonna stand around and fire at long range. We should have an obvious advantage at A. There's no way the enemy's gonna be this dumb and send 8 ships to 1 point. You just don't do that. I'm sorry to break it to you. We've got a destroyer and a cruiser attempting to capture B. Well, guess what? That's not gonna work either because there's already an enemy at B. You're going to be detected. The enemy team will probably fire on your position. It's best to give it up, maybe come back in 30 seconds to a minute. Most of the time, a player or a team will leave a base wide open and undefended. I'm going to sea, hoping that none of the enemy is actually here. We've got one of the fastest ships in the game, the Soviet destroyers, and we had boost for most of that. And of course, we're spotted. There's an enemy Iowa. They already have an advantage over here. I know there's an enemy destroyer, and yes, it is the Fletcher, my worst nightmare. So I'm going to send torpedoes, pop my smoke, and run away. There's nothing here to fight. Nope, you can have this place. And look at the Tirpitz. Oh man. Well, he's going to be out of the fight for most of the match because he's actually behind 2 islands. I'm trying to run away. I'm hoping I can just use him as a pick or something. It's not the end of the world if you have a player that refuses to play the game or is so scared of losing the ship that they move to the back of the map. You can actually drag the enemy over their position. It's sort of like bringing a player into the line of sight of an auto turret in some other game. You just manipulate the simplistic gameplay of the passive player. The player that doesn't want to do anything in the match significant. All they want to do is win without losing their ship. They couldn't care less that they don't contribute at all. So that's exactly what I'm going to try to do. Now, let's be fair, okay? It's the Tirpitz. Maybe the guy doesn't have tier 8s. Maybe he's not comfortable. It is a premium ship. So premium ships inherently attract a lower skill than players that have actually earned tier 8, 9, and 10 because they haven't had to put in the time or the effort. So don't underestimate a premium, but don't overestimate a premium either. You need to just see how they play the game. Are they going to be agile? Do they make use of all their resources? Are they using the right ammo type? And of course we're detected because that Fletcher senses blood. He's a good player. He doesn't want to let up, and we're able to break line of sight just barely. Oh, that was so close. And of course our turrets get incapacitated. That's just what happens in Soviet destroyers. If they had a skill that guaranteed your turrets will never break, your main battery turrets will never break, I would buy it outright. Especially in a Soviet destroyer. So, my team is pretty much all at A now. Yep. And I am just screaming at them. I was so mad at this point. Push! You must push. We know you outnumber the enemy. We've already seen more than 4 enemy ships everywhere else but A. You can't stay passive. You have to use the knowledge that is given to you and exploit it. That's kind of why I like a destroyer. If you use the knowledge correctly, you can outplay pretty much every scenario because concealment is just so powerful. Maybe not with the sonar consumable that they're adding in the next patch, but right now, unless you make a mistake, you should know when you should be detected and who could possibly detect you. We know there's a Fletcher somewhere behind me. I was trying to see if I could fire on that Benson, but he uses his smoke. Now the observant of you might notice that I'm firing my gun in a destroyer in a situation where I can't really succeed. Yes, I would like to get the Benson, to bait out the Benson, and I'd also like to bait out maybe the Fletcher to engage me, to show himself. That's really what I'm trying. And of course, we lose a back turret. Now that I'm moving away from the Benson, I don't have a turret that has angle, so I have to kind of wiggle back and forth. Friendlies are firing on the Benson. This is worth way more to me than the damage that he is getting. I have a cruiser right next to me. If you can bait out a destroyer to fire their gun in an unsafe scenario, you can really exploit it. We use that high velocity, long range effectiveness on the Benson, and you really got to be able to land these shots. Otherwise, you're not really doing what you set out to do, which is take out the destroyer. Now he's wiggling back and forth. Anytime a target is wiggling, I like to see them commit. Whenever they have a rudder shift committed fully, it kind of guarantees that they'll finish that turn. They're looking to fire, so they need to get those turrets back into position. You can use that to establish a pattern to exploit. Now, he drops off, he disappears. He's very low. he's probably not going to be interested in engaging. We pretty much have taken the destroyer out for the most part. He's not quite. Now we've been engaging this Myoko tier 7 Japanese cruiser. He's a very effective cruiser. Don't underestimate him. We swapped to AP since he's showing a broadside. I don't have the luxury of having my back gun because I'm a Soviet destroyer. We don't need every single turret. In fact, we play the game with explosives packed inside of them, so they blow up if they take any amount of damage whatsoever. Now you notice there's an enemy destroyer on the map. I think it's the Fletcher. He's openly firing on a friendly battleship. Now, I don't want to let this cruiser go. He's so low, right? Just finish him off. That's what I was saying to myself. He tries to fire on a position. We have much better maneuverability than he does. And if we could just place the shot well enough, we can kill him. Yes. Now, yeah, Fletcher going right for me. We're trying to avoid taking damage. Okay. Only about 1,000 hit points between the two shots. So we're going to wiggle. We're going to have our front guns ready to go. And I'm going to swap back to HE because AAP is not useful in this situation at all. Send out my torpedoes. I'm trying to be a good destroyer captain, making use of it even if there's no chance. Just them being in the water, he has to think about it. Now, he's showing a lot of his side. You don't want to show too much of your side. You really are at a disadvantage against someone who has good aim. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to punish his attempt to bring more than a couple guns online. The Fletcher has a great system. It doesn't have minimal turrets. It has plenty of turrets. So if you lose one gun, it's not an end-of-the-world scenario. But that also means you risk the ship if you want to do a lot of damage. And of course, enemy sims. He's trying to get into a position where they can sandwich me and eliminate me. I pop my smoke. I realize how dire the situation is. I have one more set of torpedoes available, and I'm just going to send it towards wherever the Sims is. And now we're running. We are trying our best to get distance from the Sims. As we're running, we're going to fire our guns. We are in the most vulnerable... Yes! We destroy one of the front guns. That's a big deal. Can we destroy another gun? But we are in the most vulnerable position right now. So we're going to try and wiggle every so often to minimize the damage we actually take. And an enemy Ibuki. Wow. Everyone hates me, right? Everyone... what? Who are you? There's something else firing in the background. We have 4 ships that are actively engaging our ship. But it looks like the Fletcher has committed to hiding in the smoke. I think the Sims committed to hiding in my smoke. None of them are detecting me. This is that terrible scenario when 2 destroyers refuse to scout for one another. And it's the Benson. We have 3 destroyers and an Ibuki on our butt. And look at A. They're just now leaving A. Just now leaving A. We're like 12 minutes in the game. I don't understand any of this. It is the most frustrating, and the Sims, he's committed. Maybe the Fletcher said, hey, you do the scouting. You have more health. Benson decides to fire. I don't know where I was zooming right there. Benson decides to fire, so we're going to engage the Benson. He's the lowest health target. He is risking his ship. I would not do this. And first shot, we take out his propulsion, force out damage control. And we do pretty significant damage considering. We get another 1K. Can we finish him off? And I'm avoiding all these shells on the Sims. And too late for you, Benson. He tried to use the emergency smoke. He shouldn't have open fired at all. There's no reason to do that. The Sims is still on our tail, but we have the luxury of a friendly cruiser that's coming to assist us. I'm really appreciative of anyone who chooses to support my ship at all. Friendly Ibuki moving to intercept the Sims, be the front line, and I'm going to support him in the back. I'm going to continue my process. I'm not afraid of death. You have to risk your ship in order to get the enemy to make mistakes. A lot of them have done it. Probably 3 ships so far we've been a part of killing or assisting in killing because they overextended, showed themselves, friendlies were able to take advantage of it. And now look where they are. They're dead. They're at the bottom of the ocean. The Ibuki appears to be moving in range of my torpedoes. I'm going to send them out, of course. And I'm going to come to a complete stop, use the last smoke charge, and unload everything on the Ibuki. He takes a big shot from probably a cruiser or a battleship, Citadel. He's showing his side. However, he's got a little bit of angling, just a little bit. So it's not ideal. He's opening up though. Now it's ideal. This is perfect. 3,400. Give me all this damage. Come on, dispersion, work in my favor, please. Oh yeah, 2,800. Can we get another big one? This is perfect, by the way. 2,500. Oh yes. Just keep being broadside, Ibuki. This is the best thing you can do for me. Keep doing it for me. He gets fire on a ship. He uses his damage control. And he's really just sailing, oblivious to what's going on, and we're able to finish him off with the assistance of all our friendlies. Don't know where the Sims is, and I believe the Fletcher has not been confirmed dead. Oh, we're detected. The Sims is pretty close. Where are you? And someone likes my play. I appreciate that. We got an enemy Sims. And since he's within range, we're going to engage him. Swap back to HE because superior, and we're able to help the Ibuki get a kill. Cool. This game, I did not think we had a chance to win this game. Whenever I saw the deployment, I just shook my head, felt like this is my nightmare. A team that doesn't play the map correctly at the very start. We're talking about the most basic idea of the game. You want 2 bases to 1. You can't do that if you put 80% of your ships at 1 base. And it's not like they had a couple battleships covering both bases. No, they were all over by A. There's no way they could have supported that assault on B. I'm just thankful that I got lucky and survived for so long, and look at what happened. I think the enemy destroyer has pulled a Notser. He's run aground in the open. These guys should just obliterate him, and that's exactly what they do. I don't know how the Fletcher got all the way over there, by the way. That guy was everywhere. So, we did 3 kills. Not really impressive, of course. Only 1,642 base XP, but the game itself was so interesting, tactically. We did around 45,000 points of damage. That's really low, but it's a Soviet destroyer without torpedo strikes. The game itself, nothing impressive, but what is impressive is we were able to drag out a lot of the attention of the enemy and ultimately help our team win the game. I hope you enjoyed the game as much as I enjoyed stalling the enemy. There's a little bit of joy when you realize, wow, there's like 6 enemy ships that are interested in me. How long can I drag this out and give my team the best chance to win? I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.